if you're a soccer player and are struggling to find the back of the net, score, or just get your shot on net at least, then this video is going to be for you, because I'm going to break down all of the years and years of techniques that I've done to get my shot almost perfect. Almost. Can't be perfect yet. So hope you will stay tuned, and I'll teach you everything you need to know about how to shoot a ball properly. So when it comes to shooting the ball, I'm going to break down a couple techniques and everything, and I will explain everything in this video. It's going to be a lot of information, so I hope you will stay tuned and listen to all of it. So with that, let's get into it. So the first thing we're going to do after a proper warm-up and stretch is we're going to set balls up just in a straight line, just down the 6-yard line, pretty much just a parallel line from it. And we're just going to curl balls in. We're going to work on the curl shot, getting the right proper form for it, and just hitting them into the far post. All right, so I'm just taking my time, taking 2-3 steps back each time, and following through. And then once I get this side done, I will repeat with the left side. So make sure you guys are using both feet. Please do not just become a right-footed shooter or a left-footed shooter. Get good with both feet and learn the techniques that work for both of them. So this is just nice and easy. Just again, not going anything hard, just doing 50% shot power and just finding that corner. That's all we're doing. And then once that's done, now we'll work on the power. So now I'm just changing it up, trying to go for some power shots, just work on the technique, take my time. As before, I'm still just going 50%. I'm not falling all the way through, not hitting it as hard as anything, because I got a lot of shooting to do today and I'm trying to focus on the power later. So I think a lot of issues are people just go to the field and just start ripping and start shooting. You need to make sure you take time to get properly warmed up with it. So go nice and easy, take your time, don't start ripping shots right away. Rip shots, but only go at 50%. You know, nice and easy, just go for the contact. That's all we're looking for. And as always then, once we get done on the right side, we'll repeat with the left side. And as you'll notice, it's not that good. I'm going to be completely blunt and honest. My left foot, I'm still been working on. All right, so it has its days. So, you know, you got to kind of be real with yourself and know what works, what doesn't work, and I'm still trying to figure out the best technique for my left foot, but everyone's gonna have a weakness, so you gotta learn your weaknesses and just keep working on them. The next step then is just to work on the touches. So we're using a trash can because, you know, I'm the only one on the field, so why not? And we're just working on hitting it off, receiving the ball, taking a touch, and then placing it. All right, so we're just going for the corner still, and yet again, we're still going to go 50%. You know, not going too hard on the shot, nice and easy. Get the touch and just rip. All right, so once we get 2 touch done, now we're going to work on the 1 touch. A lot harder technique of just one-timing it and reacting to where it bounced off the trash can, but still, we're going 50%, nice and easy, just making contact and trying to find the side netting. With this, as always, I think I get a lot of things about, you know, hey, you know, my left foot's not as good or my right's not as good as my left. And the biggest issue is you just don't practice enough. I think that's the biggest thing. You don't train enough on that opposite and weak foot. And I think you just got to start really honing in on it. Practice more than you would with the other foot. So really, really get good of honing in on your weaknesses and work on that left foot like I am right now. All right, so with that, we're going to head over to Logan, and he's going to break down all you need to know about how to cue yourself with these shots.
All right, so here are my tips to shooting a soccer ball better, more properly, things to think about as you're doing it. So as a soccer trainer and just playing for plenty of years and just training by myself individually, I've really honed in on this skill. I rarely really hit over the net, so if I do, I can figure out my mistake, and that's what I want you guys to get good with, is understanding when you do mishit it, why, the why behind it. My first thing when it comes to shooting is it depends on what you're trying to do. Are you trying to go for more power and get a knuckle on the ball, or are you trying to go for more of a curler shot where the ball will start spinning. So that's gotta be your first initiative. What are you trying to do? And I think it personally comes down to placement. Where are you on the field? And positioning of the goalie. If you're more towards the sidelines, more away from the center of the field, I would think probably you want to curl a shot. If you're more towards the center of the field or a distance out, I would recommend probably going for the knuckle, the power shot, so you can cover the distance quicker. And especially in the center of the net and in the field, there's a lot more congestion. So hitting it harder, you can get a deflection and could pay off. So when I'm going for a curl shot, we're gonna act like this is my foot. We're gonna try and we're gonna hit it here. All right, so we're going more of a sweeping up motion, more of a diagonal motion. When we're going more for a power shot, it's more of a knuckle. So we're going more here and hitting the ball through the seams, the laces of your foot. Also the difference, when I'm curling a shot, I curl and I follow through with it. So my foot will swing with it. When I'm going for more power, my foot makes contact, follows a little bit, and then leaves. All right, so I'll give you guys some examples of that. The next thing, once you figure out those two, the curl or the power shot that you're going for, when you do hit it, how's the ball come off? If you miss-hit it, and I've done this so many times with my clients, and it's helped them out tremendously during a game. You don't want to sit there and analyze it and break it down during a game. There's a lot behind a shot and the science, and you can get into the physics of it. My 3 things I look at is, the first one I'm going to talk about is the hips. So you got to watch your hips. And what I mean by that is watching where they go. So take your 2 hands, place them on your hips. All right, you can make a little gun salute, whatever you want to do, but your hips are your indicator. No matter where your hips turn, the ball will follow where they go to. You need to pay attention to, once you get a shot, if you miss, before you start crying and doing like what every professional does, hands on their head and walking away, stop where you're at, put your hands on your hips and point exactly to where the ball is. And I will give you 9, probably 10 out of 10 times, it's almost perfect, that your hips were exactly where the ball's at. Second thing, the second part I look at is when I'm shooting and how the ball comes off. Am I drilling a ball mid? Is it going straight line drive? Is it low on the ground, on the turf? Or is it just a skyrockets in flight? Pew! Anyway, that's gonna be dependent on this, how much of this you are doing. So the more I do this, the more my feet come up and the more the ball's gonna go. All right, the more centered I am, and as I tell people, the more or chest over the ball you are, you're probably gonna get a better line drive off the ball. The more way leaned over, like your 90-year-old grandmother you are, then you're gonna drill the ball into the ground. So that's another thing to kind of pay attention to when you do shoot, is if you skyrocket it, number one, sometimes it's just awful turf or grass and it bounces up, so give yourself the benefit of the doubt. Other times you're just, you lean back, and that's if you're kind of reaching for the ball. So pay attention to that. Am I leaning over, chest over the ball when I'm shooting? Am I too far chest over the ball and I'm looking like my grandmother? Or am I leaning too far back like a pimp, you're doing a pimp walk? So the last phase, the last step and tip I go through with shooting is I look at my foot placement. So my placement foot, the foot that's stepping, not shooting, I look to see how close or far that is away from the ball. To break it down, usually what happens, and this kind of goes with the hips also, is sometimes when you foot place too far away, you start to reach. And what happens when you start to reach? You lean back. So that's one indicator that sometimes that's why the ball's popping up, all right? Another reason, sometimes you're too close and your foot placement's just too close to the ball. What happens with that? Then sometimes you kind of, heels will clip, or you'll just miss-hit the ball and it just kind of dribbles into the goalie's hands. It's not really that great, that hard of a hit. And other times you get it placed perfectly where you want it and you get the rip. Is there a special formula of how far away you should be? No, you got to figure that out for yourself and figure out what foot placement works best for you, and the best way to do that is just practice. You know, so as I showed before, just stationary balls, hitting them, getting the contact and seeing how it works. So, you know, seeing what you feel feels good, what doesn't feel right, why, and going on with that. The second part then, like I did, is doing rolling balls. So taking a touch and then hitting it and figure out where your foot placement is. And third, if you know those just aren't clicking, then you got to break it down to the point where you're not paying attention to the ball, you're taking your touch and you're working on focusing on that foot, where that foot's being placed. So you're less looking at the ball, you're more looking at your placement foot, where it is, and then watching how you make contact and seeing where the ball kind of goes. So it's a weird way, but that's how I've helped myself get in the habit, getting that muscle memory into how to hit that ball properly. And with that, y'all, we are done with this week's video. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this will help you improve your shooting skill, and if it does, drop a comment, let me know. If you are interested in any other type of videos, whether it be about graduate school, fitness, health, or just soccer, more soccer drills in general and soccer techniques, let me know. Drop it in the comments. And don't forget, while you're there, to like and subscribe to Muscle Memory, and I will see y'all next week on next week's video.